Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of the Forsaken Council. So this week, guys, we've had an update. There's been a few changes to the stores and what you can purchase in there. We've had some time-limited campaigns, some bug fixes and tuning, and some discussion about a preview this week. So without further ado, I guess we'll just fire straight into this, shall we? So Mark, the wonderful TSM is going to share the slides tonight, and I believe they were made by the great Andrew. So I will click it. Today's release notes. Does anyone want to have a go at this, or shall I fire in? Ren, I want to hear Ren's beautiful camera voice.
I can get started, no problem. I mean, the first one is they're changing the daily deals. Let's see what comes out. I haven't seen any difference today. I guess it starts tomorrow. But new skins, some resources, tokens. Tokens they already had. I guess they're changing what they offered only. We'll start seeing the difference tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I found that a lot of the deals offered weren't really. I mean, a lot of the skins aren't really for me, but I'm sure that there'll be some good ones in there eventually. It'd be nice to see this skin go in there, the one that's on screen. You're adjusting the screen there, Mark. It's getting like smaller and bigger. We're having like a telescopic slide there. It's just going in and out. That's the one. There we are. Okay, should we go on to the next slide? So the Dark Reign time-limited campaign, a particular favourite, I think, for the panel here. So the start date is Wednesday, July the 6th at 9 a.m. PST. It's already started. It started at 5 o'clock today. And the end date is Wednesday of next week, the day before the raid, at exactly the same time. We've just lost a screen share there, Mark, but let me go back on. But so, guys, I mean, how do you feel about this campaign? I know that there's a lot of mixed views about this. So before we hit the prizes, how do you feel about the campaign in general? I mean, how do you feel of the fact that we're having this campaign?
Well, to be honest, mate, I'm not really bothered about it. I'll do it just for the sake of doing it because I've done the rest. But I'm not going to be in no rush to build the ships or anything, really.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I will say about this campaigns or these campaigns, that if you participated in any of the raids for the last 2 months, if you've participated in getting gantry parts, if you've participated in any of these, a lot of the content that Kixeye thrown our way over the last couple of months, then you've already got a fleet for them. They are easy. I think they're dead easy, and I'm using switchblades, so that's saying something, So I was autopiloting them. In fact, I autopiloted the first 2. So they're
I was going to say it's a good change from the last TLC we had. I mean, we don't have them often anymore like we had in 2015, but the last TLC where the Draconians were attacking our bases, that was crazy hard, remember?
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this one, just for the fun of it, right? I did price pack 1 with MCX. MCX, everyone knows, is the tier 1 assault hull, so should take a beating, right? And I was able to do encounters 1, 2, 3 without docking. Then I docked for 5 hours repair. And my MCX have like 8,000 armor. They're really low armor, D2E armor, D1C armor only. And so then I finished encounters 4 and 5 with the 3 Apollos, with not switchblades, with blades. It barely scratched their paint. So, like you said, whoever has Apollos should cruise through like easy, right? And people who have anything in between MCX and Apollo will certainly be able to do levels 1 and 2 for free because it's 12-hour time limit on level 1, 6-hour time limit on level 2, and after that's 1 hour. So, I mean, if somebody wants to do level 3 and get the Omega B, then probably either you need 2 fleets or you're going to have to spend some coin repairing. Unless you have Apollos, then I bet you can do for free as well.
Or rhinos, if you're using like a rhino with a tank in a raid, then that'll work in here too.
Yeah, should work.
I mean, I was always brought up with a firm belief: never look a gift horse in the mouth. You ever heard that saying? It means And I think that this campaign's a bit like that. I mean, there's some great prizes on offer. Well, whether you feel that they're great prizes or not, they're being handed to us at a very good rate. I mean, the Amiga Behemoth is still a very much used hull. I haven't had a chance to look at these new hulls in deep in terms of their stats, but they both look very good. So I feel like they're kind of saying, look, you can take these. They're free. You know, they're not free, but they're as good as for me. So, you know, I'm happy with that. And guys, Gadget, Monster, TSM.
Well, without going into the holes, mate. I mean, to be honest, you need a flagship for your Zoe, for your not for your Zoes, for your Apollos, mate.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. Do you really need a flagship for your Citadels? I mean, do you use Citadels to hit base with? No, because you've got Vendettas. So where's that going to come into play, like?
Well, they're definitely PvE flagships. They're not PvP flagships. So the Apollo is. I can see that being in it. Although my Apollos are already fairly good, I can see that Apollo flagship making them that little bit better. But
using the fleet stats for the Apollo, the flagship, using the concussive protection on it as well.
Yeah, the additional concussive protection, the additional missile protection with the additional, is it missile reload or missile damage?
Well, why don't we go to the blueprint, Liam? Then we talk about it.
Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, we have the stats on screen, anyways.
I did miss out. No, we can't hear you at the moment, Gadget. I did hear. Excuse me. I missed out that bottom part there. Unlike previous time-limited campaigns, there are 5 separate run-throughs, each with its own number of encounters. Defeat all encounters in a run-through to earn the prize pack. Okay. Okay. So prize pack 1. That is a great prize list for a prize pack 1 of a campaign.
Yeah.
Which is basically a free prize pack for everybody.
Yep.
To be honest.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was kind of surprised to see the fact that I had to play it. Like, for me, a Gale 1 is just it's not even worth the time invested. But
oh, it depends, Liam. I mean, if you're gonna put, let's say, for some reason you decide to put Gales on your Vendetta, with that defense handicap of 100%, you don't get any bonuses, any like explosive resistance bonus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would you put a Gale 2 or 3? They have the same accuracy, only 1 extra salvo compared to the 1, and much lighter. I mean, with this new defense handicap thing, in some cases you might find that it's best to use Gale 1, right, and save on the weight. I think.
Okay, that's an interesting view actually that I didn't think about. So
and I don't know if I mean, do we need to explain the difference between countermeasure equipment and countermeasure loaders? I think probably most people watching it know, right? One has the reload, the other doesn't, but I think the bonuses are the same or very close to each other, right? Small differences.
Yeah, small differences. I think most of us are aware of what they are.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, again, prize pack 2, 1 more target, and for it you get a Gale Defense 2. So yeah, I mean, worth it. And as I say, I did the first 2 campaigns on autopilot, so and I'm sure other people were in that position as well. So it's basically free.
How about now?
Yeah.
Oh God, we can hear him now. Jesus.
Yeah, it is free. The Apollos work great in it, but I mean, you know, the problem I got with it is the build time on the new stuff, right? The build time on the new stuff, and also the fact that I've got to go through the first 3 rounds to get stuff that I don't really need. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I can't get another Omega Behemoth. I'm at my max. I don't really need the Gales. You know, I've got more than 10 of every one already, plus what's already on my fleets. Do you know what I mean? These are just sitting there, not being used. Do you know what I mean? They're just sitting in my storage, not going anywhere.
So what you're trying to say is like you'd like an option to skip them.
Yeah, and just go straight to the top 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But you've got to think that there is a lot of players that aren't in your position. You know? Like these specials would be pretty vital to those players that don't have them.
Well, yeah, but you know, I mean, it's a valid position, right?
To a guy that has them, there should be the option to just jump through. And in fact, it's been like that in previous campaigns. I remember there was a campaign before where I had everything, and I jumped straight to the end, and I only had to do it like once or twice.
Yeah, normally it would be that way for us. That's what with Kixeye throwing in the gals. That's kind of thrown the spanner in the works in that scenario.
Limited tech has come in. That's why. That's what it is.
So yeah, it was a bit. I was a bit surprised by that too, Gadget.
I mean, I'm only doing it because it's free, mate. You know, I mean, I did the first 3 rounds, and I'll slow repair the Apollos for nothing. And then I'll do the rest of it tomorrow and slow repair them for nothing. And that's the only reason I'm doing it. Like the holes don't attract me. I mean, they do somewhat. The Zoe's Apollo doesn't attract me at all, right? I don't see any need for it. My Apollos do absolutely fine in every target I use them for. I don't need to spend days and days and days and days and days building a hole that I just don't need. And the Citadel interests me, but again, the build time just puts me off, mate. It really does.
Okay, so let's look at price pack 3. So Omega Behemoth, Gale Defense 1, 2, 3. So it gets a bit better in that price pack, especially for players that don't have the Omega Behemoth, because that's actually quite a vital hole for Centurion fleets that hit mines and dubs, and even Punisher's fleets, in fact.
Oh yeah, anyone running I was just going to say, anyone running Punishers or Citadels, and I posted that on the page earlier today. I think for mid-level players, mid to up level, I guess, who are running Centurions and Punishers, and don't have the Omega, I mean, it's a must-have at this point, guys, and this campaign seems to be very doable. I think with Rhinos, you should be able to do it for free. I'm going to test it with Rhinos and record it later. You know, but the 50% reload and 50% ballistic resistance that it adds to your entire fleet, it's great, right? Just build it with like a hailstorm, the map speed booster, and layered armor, and that's all you need. Keep it in the corner.
Anyone that's going for dubs is vital. Absolutely.
I was just going to say, anyone that's actually doing 107s for their FM, you're going to see a massive difference.
Yeah.
If you don't have an Omega, then you should definitely be getting it.
I mean, it would. In fact, I would say for anyone, if you were a player that didn't have any of the stuff in here, I would say Prize Pack 3 is probably the best tier for anyone.
Yeah.
And it's got thermal. So.
Yeah, 80 thermal. So it's not too shabby.
No.
If you haven't got anything at all, it can go in your base. So.
Okay, so we're definitely loving Prize Pack 3. So Prize Pack 4, Harlock Citadel. And again, the same offers of gals. I mean, are we going to go into the holes, aren't we, in the next couple of repeats? Yeah. So I think we won't hit that subject too hard just now. And then Prize Pack 5, Zoe's Apollo, a new badge, which I didn't know about that. Okay, new badge, and again the Gale 1, 2, and 3. So there's a fair amount of gals on offer here. There's 3 level 3s, 4 level 2s. And 5 level 1s. So that's not a bad chunk of gals, especially for anyone looking to maybe set up a base guard that counters, Vens. There's enough on offer there for you to put them to use.
Or for people who don't have them for their countermeasure ship doing Forsaken mission. People who are using regular hailstorms. Moving to gales is a massive improvement. I remember running my first version of my countermeasure when it was still the raid. And some mortars would always land, and the moment I switched that to the equivalent gales, it shut them down completely. Right?
There's enough there on offer as well to set up a Centurion fleet for dubs if you're collecting the Omega Behemoth too.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go into Gadget's favourite subject, the interesting part, the Harlock Citadel. Now, there's mixed views about this, I guess. So let's read the stats. Commissioned by Harlock as a frontline spotter for the original Citadel, this hull features a flagship aura which provides all friendly Citadels with large bonuses to their offensive mortar capabilities. So, guys, one by one, why don't you tell me what you like and dislike about this hull? Let's start with Monster. You're the quiet one tonight, Monster. Let's start with you.
What do I like about this hull?
Like and dislike, yeah. I mean, just what's your general view of it?
I suppose the only thing I would like about it is the explosive projectile speed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What I dislike about it is the build time. It's outrageous.
Do we have a clarification on the build time?
I think.
Apart from it stinks.
It's 15 days, give or take.
15 days is a dry hole.
Without an officer and with no weapons on it whatsoever, it's 16 days, 5 hours, 56 minutes, 24 seconds.
Right.
To be honest, I've got 3 Citadels that I run with a Punisher to do my FM with.
See, now
that works fine, and I can't see any reason to spend 15 days, even to build this, or 16 days, say, to build this with an engine and an anti-wall, just to use it as a flag. It's just a complete waste of time. There's just no point to it.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of agree in some sense. I can see a use for it. I didn't know it's build time, so that was a surprise to me, as you guys have just mentioned that there. But okay, before I give my opinions, Ren, how do you feel? I'll move along the panel.
Similar to what Monster said, I have 3 Citadels. I use them with a tank when I want to do FM. If they're damaged, I use the Punishers with the Omega B. Or vice versa. So these are my 2 fleets that I can do for FM, and they're doing the job just fine. I sit down in short period of time and I get it done. So do I need this hull? No, absolutely I don't need it. Does it have cool statistics? Absolutely. I mean, I can only imagine mortars falling 200% faster than they usually do, plus whatever you already get with the combustion system too, right? I mean, they're gonna fly like probably faster than rockets, right? But on the build time, it sucks. But what I've been thinking is like, a year, 2 years ago, right? Having a regular fleet of the regular hulls will get your ass kicked. If you didn't have the special flagship to go with them to boost them, you would take so much more damage than whoever had the flagship, to a point where the flagship was pretty much mandatory. Right? All the targets, everything was designed so you needed the flagship to kill top targets. Now, we don't need that, right? So it's more like a brand name accessory. Like, you want to show off, you want to brag that you have it. But if you don't need it. So is that a bad thing, or is that a good thing? I see that as a good thing, that I don't need the flagship. And because I don't need it, I couldn't care less about the build time. Whoever wants to build it will not build it because they need it. Will build it because it's cool and they feel it's worth it. From that perspective, I'm cool with it.
I agree. Yeah, that's a
Am
good
I
point.
going to build it? No, probably not.
Well, I think with that kind of build time, that's going to sour a lot of people off of it, especially considering a lot of players are faced with very long sub-fleet build times at the moment. Okay, TSM, how do you feel?
Personally, good points. For me, the flagship effect is explosive damage 200%. So that means on a base hitting fleet, you could drop one of your others, put this one in the lead, still have 2 revenges and 2 other of these if you haven't got obviously your vendettas, and leave this as a flagship out of the way somewhere, and it's going to be like having 4 in one fleet. So for those that are not got the latest and greatest, and they're sort of mid-level and hitting mid-level targets, there's a justification to build it. I think it absolutely stinks on the build time, and I think the fact that it doesn't work with other retargeting mortar ships as well is a bit of a letdown. But apart from that, I do like the explosive damage. I mean, projectile speed's fantastic. It's going to make judgmental mortars go crazy, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy to see those things go off. Especially when they move and that sort of stuff. But yeah, the fact that it doesn't work with the other retargeting mortar ships is a bit of a letdown, really. I can see why they've done it, but the high level or the end players, they're not going to bother. The mid levels will go, that's interesting.
I mean, like TSM saying, if it worked with DNX or like anything, then
the Novas, it'd be another replacement to Novas, wouldn't it? So,
then it'd be a good hull. But the fact that it only works with Citadels and the build time is obscene, it's just not it's just not worth it.
Can you imagine Foundry 5, Citadels or something like that, or you got things up there definitely at a good level, and this thing comes in there and it just gives you 200%, projectile speed plus your explosive reload of 200%. It would make a mid-level fleet really quite interesting, and definitely a punch above its weight.
But I think it's a little bit too little, too late, right? Because Kixeye said, they kind of designed the Citadel specifically to kill Forsaken Mission targets that were the last raid cycle and then Forsaken Mission, and they said they're not going to change Forsaken Mission anymore before this year. So let's say guaranteed until end of December, FM is what it is. If you're already doing FM, would you right now, where you only have a guarantee of 5 months without changes, right? Would you build that now for a hull that's probably over half of its useful lifetime?
No chance. No. You'd be doing Apollos, wouldn't you?
See,
the Apollo at least is a fresher hull. If you want to build one of these two, the Apollo I would foresee a longer lifespan, right?
Yeah, see, I don't know. I look at this, and the only thing that really puts me off about it is the build time, right? I mean, everything else is great. I see this could be used in 3 different ways for me. I mean, this could be used as a base hitter. If you put this with a couple of R5 Citadels, or even with just one R5 Citadel and 3 Ven tanks, you could do a lot of damage, because that 200% projectile speed and the 200% damage is massive, right?
But that's not going to apply to the Vendettas, Dave.
No, I know it's not going to apply.
Okay.
The Vendettas are strictly going to be tanks, mate.
Okay.
Right? That's the only use for the Vendettas. I'd run 3 so I could park 1 just in front of the Citadels to soak up any Deadeye fire, and that'd leave me 2 to run up the channel. And that 200% projectile speed is going to be massive, mate. I really think so. I also think it could be used as a prep fleet if you put like Assault X on it. Do you know what I mean? And incendiary shells.
Yeah, true.
You could do a lot of damage to guards with that very, very quickly with that projectile speed. And I'd love to be able to put it in my base. Right? I mean, can you imagine this thing in your base? Somebody tries to come into your base with Vendettas, man, it's going to fire mortars like there were missiles.
True. Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no way you're going to get underneath them, right?
The other cool thing about this SOA, it's a small detail, but I found it cool. Under special abilities, it has a built-in countermeasures. Like it has.
Yeah,
I
saw that.
It's not 8 or 9 of them. It's 1 countermeasure with a salvo of 8, but kills both mortars and missiles, right?
And
so even if you don't put any gales or anything, there's 1.
But it's only 50% accurate. And so that's something to bear in mind.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, like, if you were going to put, let's say you put that on your guard and you wanted to put 3 gales, now you can only put 2.
It's only 50% accurate, but it's still got explosive and penetrative defense of 75%. So it's
See, I think that this would for me. I can see that it may work in like a base scenario. I can see that, like, to the idea that Gadget was talking about. But I think that it would be so niche, and it would be like you would have to pit it so perfectly. Like one salvo dropping down onto a stacked fleet would end you. You know what I mean? So you would really have to be spot on with that, and I just don't know if it'd be worth it for that reason. But I do see the hull as I do like the hull. I think, as many of you know, I was a big fan of Citadels, and I coined the fleet, and then I coined the refit, and then I coined the refit again to get them right. And I use a Citadel fleet, 2 Punishers, 3 Citadels. I used it in the last Holstal raid, and I use it now to do my weeklies, and it's a great fleet. I love it. So could I see myself building this hull and taking out a Punisher because I don't need 2 Punishers anymore? Because I used to use that fleet to hit bases, so I had 2 Punisher tanks in there, but I don't need that anymore. So could I see myself pulling out a Punisher and putting this in there? 100%.
I could, because I've got Pandos on mine as well, and that will make them fly much better.
Do you know what else?
But I think the point is, like, you could see yourself doing. It's cool. Everyone loved the statistics in the whole, I think. But I mean, do you need it?
No. I don't need it, but for me, it's a choice of gain, isn't it? And
I've got lots I don't need. Like
what I would gain is probably a marginally smaller. like a fraction of reduced time per week in my weeklies, which may take 6 months to pay off for the cost of investing in the hole in the first place.
And you know what, mate? If it was a 5 or 6 day build, then that might be worthwhile for you to do. But with the build time that it's got, it's just not worth it.
Oh, it's not happening. No, I've got subs to build. I got 120 days.
When you load this guy with all the specials and weapons, it takes like over 25 days. So would you commit a month, let's say 20 days of your shipyard with tokens, to build a ship so you can get some marginal gain on your FM?
With the FM.
Anybody who builds this is going to build it because they want the bragging rights or because it's cool. Nobody should build that because they need it, because I think nobody needs it.
I think that's exactly how I feel about the Apollo as well, though.
I see this. It can run as a tank, though. It could replace Punishers entirely in my Citadel fleet.
But the Punishers already work. That's the point. I mean,
yeah, exactly. The only people that this appeals to building now is people that haven't yet built that Citadel fleet. That's the problem. Because it's come too late for us to make any use of it.
Yeah.
The Apollo needs a saying, because I've got a Savage that I run, because I choose to run one, and it doesn't, apart from a bit more concussive, it doesn't do anything else.
Well, in 15 days, Kixeye, I'll be honest with you, even if you cut this build time in half, I still would probably consider it to be too long of a build time. So, yeah, and still probably would consider not building it, even if it was 7.5 days build time. So, maybe you need to rethink that.
And I think it's what you use the hull for, right? I mean, we all know we're going to get a base defense hull next raid.
That was my next point, yeah. We need to just consider...
I need to buff my base defense more than I need to gain save 30-minute repair on my FM. Honestly, even if this guy was like 3 days, would I build it now? No, because I'm going to build the Vanquisher first.
I'll save the tanks. I'll save my tokens for the Vanquisher. Yeah, exactly.
And after I do the Vanquisher, I need to do some refits on my subs because we know there's going to be a sub raid coming. So if I ever dedicate shipyard time to this guy, even if it's a short build time, would only be like late August or something like that.
It'll be history by then.
Yeah.
And then the FM will change, so it'll be like...
Yeah, by the time we're ready to build it, we'll be on different FMs.
Exactly.
So it's a cool, nice looking gadget, but pretty much useless, unlike our gadget here.
Oh!
Wow!
That's harsh.
Come on, that was a compliment.
Gadget and...
It's mute again.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, let's jump into the Apollo, because I actually prefer this one. But I know that there's going to be mixed views again. I know you're probably all going to start cursing me, but I like this. So, firstly, fill me in, guys. What's the build time? Before we even start, what's the build time?
17 days, naked.
17 days! Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it's even worse, isn't it?
Loaded with the very same specials and weapons as a regular Apollo is 27 days and change.
Yeah.
And again, it's exactly the same principle, right? I look at this and I look at the stats on it, and I think to myself, well, if I built this, it'd take me 27 days.
I'd be an idiot.
And instead of it costing me 1 coin for 3.7 million points, it costs me 1 coin for nearly 8 million points or something. It just wouldn't be worth it, mate. I'm happy to pay what I'm paying for my raid points with my Apollo fleet as it is. I'm happy with it, right? Well, why would I spend 27 days to save a fractional amount of damage on my Apollo fleet? Do you know what I'm saying? It just seems asinine to me.
Well, it looks like Kixeye finally sorted out switchblades. If I build one of this and tank the fleet, will the switchblades be good now?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get a big reload bonus, right? And you're gonna get a big corrosive and penetrative defense bonus. So it's all there on the bottom right.
That's why they brought it out, Liam. Just
for you, Liam.
Well,
just for Liam.
The thing is, the build time is hugely disappointing there, and I feel that the conversation here, guys, is identical to the one we've just had. To build this, you're going to get a marginally reduced repair time in hitting the mega holes and the raid and the assault targets. Any targets that are similar to this. So yeah, you're going to get a very marginally reduced repair time. Now, some players already do hits for like 5 minutes. So what? They're going to get it for 4.5 minutes?
And you could build 2 regular Apollos at about the same time. Do you know?
That's all you need, to be honest.
I was going to say exactly that. I mean, you get a 50% reload bonus, so now 1 Apollo is worth an Apollo and a half. But you could build 2 in the same time. So is it worth it, even from that perspective? No.
You could almost build 2 Tigers at the same time as well.
And most players that we've all got our fleets built and ranked. Were we gonna? Does Kixeye seriously think we're gonna invest 30 days into a ship? It's just. I'm really.
By the way, it's a really cool ship. Okay, you look at the stats. It's a really cool ship with very nice bonuses. It's just not a must-have.
If they'd have brought it out at the same time as they brought the regular hull out, they might just have got me.
Yeah, same.
Do you know what I mean?
But they would have got me. They would have got me. I would have coined it.
Bringing it out months after the hulls have already come out, they're halfway through their shelf life. Why am I going to dedicate that much shipyard time?
But we haven't talked to the pitch as well.
I'm gonna throw a wrench on what you just said, Gadget. I mean, when the Apollo first came out, most people were just saying that's not fucking worth it. That hull sucks. I'm gonna do my rhinos. Few people took the jump.
I did.
You did.
We both
but
did.
What I'm trying to say is a lot of people would just say, oh, the regular, they didn't see use for it at first, and then this one comes out to this build time. Everybody would just riot or walk away. You know what I mean?
Same as Punisher.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I trouble to see Kixeye's vision on these two.
Liam, there's one thing we haven't looked at, and Ren mentioned it last week as well. The Apollo will go into the Foundry, and this won't. Mm-hmm. That's still pissing me right off at the moment.
Yeah, do you know what? And with this whole limited hull stuff, I know that Ren, this is one of your biggest gripes, and I know it's a topic we hit on. I thought that Kixeye maybe had thought, hang on a minute, lesson learned. Let's stop making limited hulls because it creates issues for us that we have to then spend months. Right, in 5 months' time, they're going to have to figure out a way of bringing this Apollo in line with Foundry Apollo. They're just creating more work and headaches for themselves.
Which is why I like the aura effect. If you have the more ships you have the same, the better the aura gets. So you benefit almost like having a lead hull by having 3 Apollos as opposed to 2 Apollos because the aura effect's better. Do it that way, and then you don't need things.
See, the only option I can see for this fleet being useful as a lead hull is if you've got Kodiaks and not Apollos, which is going to be a low-end guy, but then the low-end guy won't get this hull, so again...
Exactly. And it'll race off all over the place.
Well, no, because you could just put an animal on it and leave it at like the back and like just...
I see your point.
And just use a buffs, but again, thinking about it, a lower-end guy's not going to have the tech to get it, so yeah.
That to me is just like, you need ships to do the raid. You have the Apollos, you have the Rhinos with the tank. You're doing the raid.
Exactly.
Do you need this guy at this stage when this raid cycle only lasts 2 more months? And then I know the targets will be reused somewhere, but to me it's just a very expensive toy. It's something that only someone with a lot of money to spare and nothing else to spend the money on is going to do it. Now I keep questioning: is that a bad thing or? I don't think it's a bad thing,
Well,
the fact that we don't need the flagship, it's a good thing.
I'm not concerned about whether we need it or not, but my biggest concern is I kind of feel like when I see Kixeye produce this and say, hey, this is the new content for you, that concerns me because then I think to myself, how can they think that that's a good idea?
Mm.
That's when I start to worry because then I think if they think that's a good idea, then they don't quite understand what's going on.
Missed a trick, haven't they?
Maybe that's just an experience, right? I mean, after many months without releasing a limited hull, they put these guys out and say, let's see how the players react to that, and
I don't know. I feel like seeing these 2 hulls, I feel like we're taking a couple of steps backwards at the moment.
I mean, I'll just look at all the flagships that I've got built. The Borbus Gore Saber, the bloody Grimshine. They're all just sat in storage now, doing absolutely nothing. And if I ever decided to waste my time building these things, I can see them being put there as well.
Yeah.
And these will be slower again,
And like you guys
Also,
said,
sorry guys. Also, I got to say, somebody mentioned it in the chat, and they're right. The 50% penetrative reload will only apply to other Apollos. So
no, that's not true.
That's what it says. That's what it says. Bonus effect applied to each Apollo in.
If you read the release notes, it says that the penetrative reload applies to all ships in the fleet, but then the other bonuses, the defense bonuses, are only for other Apollos.
Right.
I see. Yeah, it says all ships are there then, but excels with. Yeah. Okay, I see.
Right.
That, yeah.
So it first says penetrative reload to all ships, and then the second line says grants all other Apollos a bonus toward penetrative and concussive defense.
Because of the aura, which is what I'm saying. That's why just stack your aura ships up instead.
That's how I read it. Am I reading it wrong? Yeah, that's how I read that the reload applies to any ship.
Well, I'm reading it. I'm just looking at the print, and it says bonus effect applied to each Apollo in the fleet field of effect, and then it lists all the stats, and penetrative reload is under that stat.
Well, then you move to stuff it and just get a savage.
Maybe you're right. So, is there any Kixeye like moderator in the YouTube chat?
Because the only possibility I was thinking,
not that I've seen.
If no one's got any Apollos, and they actually somehow do manage to get to the end, you could stick. Honestly, I thought you could charge this ship out in front of a stack of rhinos, and just run it around so it misses virtually everything, and then just get the retargeting off the rhinos. But if you're not going to get those benefits for those rhinos, you're almost sort of like wasting your time.
Well, see, I have a fleet that runs. I have a fleet that actually uses 3 rhinos, 3 old rhinos, not Zoe's rhinos, a Savage Kodiak and an Apollo. And a Savage Kodiak is just bulky and full of countermeasures.
Yeah.
3 rhinos are full of missiles, and literally the Apollo just dashes around in front of
the dancer, just to get the retarget up and running.
And have you noticed they're doing this thing a lot recently? They're basically, and this is what I don't like, is they're getting to this stage again where they're making me feel like I'm forced into a corner, right? They bring out these fleets. I mean, look at these two, for instance. The Harlock Citadel only works with other citadels, right? So if I get this fleet, this hull, I have to build citadels to go with it. I can't use it in any other fleet. I can only use it with that fleet, right? And that's putting me into a corner, right? I mean, before with a flagship only hull like the Savage or the Highlander or the Grimshine, you could put it in any fleet, and you could get them bonuses for any fleet that you wanted to use that flagship hull in. So it was kind of somewhat worth the extra build time because of that. But this, you can only use it in one fleet. So what's the point?
And the other thing I've read here, I've just reread that properly, just because obviously there's no mod in there. So we've got a primary and a secondary aura. Okay, so the primary aura, as it says there, look, it gives a fleet effect to other Apollos. The secondary aura affects all ships in it, so it wouldn't matter what the ship was. But look at the size and the range of the aura; it's not very big. So, although you're going to get an aura for the penetrative reload, you can't let this ship scream off ahead too far, because if it's got to save in the aura, you're going to lose the effect.
So
it has
basically,
to stay within range. It's going to be like the Aegis size aura, isn't it?
Which is then bloody pointless if you want to use it for charging around with your rhinos.
You can't set it up with like one gale and leave it sat at the back.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because
it's got to be the fighting ship.
And you can't use it as a tank running up front, because as soon as it moves up front, the other ships are out of its aura, so they wouldn't gain that bonus. Your rhinos wouldn't be getting the reload.
It's a niche market hull again, isn't it? And it only
and 17 days to build. I was just going to say 17 for something that. If you go back, just like the stuff a lot of people are doing now, getting the old Savage Kodiak and living in a corner to boost the other rhinos,
that was my video, wasn't it? That's what I was saying,
or getting the Omega B to boost the Punishers. I mean, that kind of creative reuse that players have done, they're pretty much cutting that out and saying, no. You only use with the Apollos whenever the Apollos run out of their useful lifespan. There's nowhere else we can use that flagship.
It's too niche,
right?
And the same with Gadget. I'm going to do it because it's something to do, but that's the only thing, and it'll just be another one of those flagships that's going to sit in my dock and go, well, that was a nice badge, I've got it, but I'm not going to build it. Pointless. I don't see the logic in it.
All I'm doing it for is the new badge, mate.
But it's a trinket, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a bit of bling, isn't it? That's it. It's
I
a
don't
campaign.
know. Somebody said in chat that Rooster did a post or something, or he removed the badge thing from the post, and that people weren't getting badges.
So
People
I'm
who
not
completed
getting
it.
a tramp stamp.
I don't think so.
Why ain't doing it then?
So there's no badge anymore?
That was the best part.
Somebody in chat was saying that there was loads of people having problems with it, and somebody else came on and said that Rooster had removed the badge part from the post on forums.
Doesn't it tell you something, though, if all you're actually doing this for is just to collect a badge and not the pose?
Do you know what, Kixeye? Listen,
I think you need to.
I appreciate what you guys are doing. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but these holes are a bit silly. They're a bit. The build times in particular are laughable, guys. You need to look at that.
Do you know what? If it was about 9 days, I'd probably build it. Drop one of my rhinos. Do
you know what? Do everyone a favor, guys. Take the holes back and shove in some bloody build tokens, and we will kiss your arse for it. All right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Liam's gonna kiss your arse for it. Not everyone.
Put some 7-day build tokens in there. In fact, give me a 7-day build token over both those holes.
A 3, a 5, and a 7 day. There you go. There's a campaign.
And I would take that. I would take that, no sweat. That to me is worth.
But you know what? Somebody on our page said everyone's bashing the build time and everything, but there's already people out there who coined them and have them on the map.
What?
Wow.
But that makes it plausible.
The thing is, there's always going to be people out there who coin them and have them on the map, right? No matter what to be honest with you, mate, if they released a hole tomorrow that was like a 6-month build time and cost 15,000 coins to coin it, there'd be some guy who'd go out and coin it. Monster. Right? That just goes without saying. Them saying that doesn't make me feel any better about the crappy build time.
I heard that, yes.
I know, because that is a genuine argument. I guess some people say sometimes. It's
Monster.
like, well, you might not like the build time, but that idiot next to you, he just coined it. You know
what I mean? I guess I better go out and coin it too then.
Well, if he's coined it, then I'm going to coin it. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Moving on. Come on.
July preview.
Ren, go on. You have the honors. I'll lock it on the screen.
No, it's the usual stuff. I mean, we're gonna have a July event preview on Friday. It starts at noon Kixeye time, which for me it's 3 p.m. Eastern time, and for you guys it's probably 7 or 8 p.m. Is that right?
Yep, it is.
Yep.
It's
Eight?
There's 8 hours difference. Always is.
8 hours, so 8 p.m. for UK guys. Okay. And password will be posted on the forum, and again, it's just like I think it's less than 100 players that they let in those servers. So space does disappear. If people want to try the targets and people want to try the Vanquisher, because they give you a lot of free gold and you can instantly build it and test it. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
Should be fun for those who get in. Yeah.
And I'm sure if any of the TFC guys get in, we'll have some streams up on the.
But make sure you're quick, because it lasts about 3 seconds.
Yeah. Well, we'll try and get someone in, and we'll be streaming. We'll stream this off the TFC's Twitch channel, so I'm sure there'll be something up for that.
If I'm home, I'll have a go at see if I can get in. I'm not sure what I'm doing on Friday yet, but if I'm home, I'll see if I can get in. If I can, I'll put up a post and say I'm going to stream it. So.
We are allowed to stream this. Is correct, Ren, aren't we?
Preview servers, yes.
It's public, isn't it? So
allowed to stream, yes.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, great. So preview, exciting. Everyone excited to see the Vanquisher hole in action? I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with that, but it sounds good. I don't know if I should be worried or excited, but.
I mean, I'm going to build one. That's a guarantee. The last time I built a Defender hull was one Enforcer that I still haven't used to this day.
Really?
Yeah. And after the Enforcer, I built an Omega B, but that's empty just to boost the Punishers. Yeah. But no, I didn't build any defense hull. I just reuse hulls from my other fleets and put them over there when I'm not using them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as I posted in page recently, I'm finally at a point where I'm caught up on pretty much everything else.
Until now.
No, I am. So whenever this Defender hull comes out, I'll have free shipyard time to build it. I mean, I don't need to build anything for FM or Raid or Armadas or even... I finished my Baser. I have 3 Vendettas, 2 Revenges. I can go out and hit... actually, 3 of each I have. But I leave 1 Revenge in my guard.
That tells you something. Yeah, that tells you that the system is starting to work. Ignore the last couple of holes that are just about coming out this weekend, these lead holes. But actually, the payoff is starting to work, I think.
Well, in 4 months, when my sub fleet's finished, I'll probably build 1 or 2 myself. So,
I've got my subs, mate. I'm already ready for that raid. I know what I want. I know what I'm going to build, and I've built them. I've done it. So I'm titivating things. That's all I'm doing at the moment. But I had the subs built.
Titivating. I like that word, titivating. That's
titivating. Yeah. Spring cleaning stuff. That's all I'm doing.
Spring cleaning. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Sprinkling.
And like at first I thought with this whole class story, I was gonna need 7 fleets. I even said that on a live show, right? And now I find out that I can use my Punishers for base parts, dubs, and FM. If it's damaged, I can use the Citadels for FM. And like I use the Apollos for the raid and the same Apollos for Armada. So it's like 2-3 fleets and I can do all the PV I need. And now I have a baser, so I'm good. Can go to base defense now. Was my last priority.
Yeah, and that's where I am at the moment. If I ever get my executioners built, I might get around to having a base that I can stop people in. Anyway, not to worry. So here we go. Bugs, fixes, and tuning next.
Oh, the best part of the week.
I think we'll just
Switchblade.
Should we gloss over this bit?
I don't know if people are aware of that.
Oh wow! Hang on a minute.
What?
Go on, Liam. This one's for you.
I didn't read this.
You're joking?
No.
There's no changes. There's no changes. It's just cosmetic.
Don't tell him that.
Damn
just
it.
cosmetic.
Build him up, knock him down.
I thought he was going to say Switchblades. Finally, guys, we've come to our senses at the Kixeye office and realised that when we made Switchblades, they didn't quite work as intended. Therefore, we have decided to buff them, and we'll, yada yada yada. Now they're good.
Well, it'll look like they've been buffed because your figures will look different. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, my figures look different every day. Yeah. All right, okay, go on, Ren. You do the justice.
No, I was just gonna say it's if you equip the ship with all switchblades like you did, if you look at your shipyard, the total damage in the statistics block shows up as 0 because it considers the damage from the primary mode, which is a counter mode.
Counter.
Right.
So to work around that, they now wrote a piece of code that says it displays the higher number of either the secondary or primary weapon.
So they'll be doing more damage now?
No.
No.
No, just kidding.
So, in English, nothing's changed.
Right.
Nothing changes, but instead of showing 0, it shows the actual missile damage your ship does.
It's about as useful as having a skin on your ship. It doesn't do anything at all.
It was all aesthetics.
You may feel better, but doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
It's like buying new cars,
2,
just different colours.
Yeah. Bug fix number 2 was like sometimes, and I saw that on my base, you select like walls level 8 and you place a row, and if you had any walls level 7 there, it would randomly mix them up. Right? So now it won't anymore.
Well, Ren, all my walls are level 7. So if yours aren't, all I can say is slacker.
Yeah, is level 7 or 8 the highest?
I don't remember. Is it? I think it is 8.
Because mine are all level 8, I guess.
If all yours are level 7, you're really far behind.
Well, I meant 8.
You better start going and collect some Zinf, mate.
Sorry,
a lot of it.
Thankfully, there's a campaign going right now. I can get a load of res out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
And now they expose the statistic that they already had in the game before, showing whether or not the secondary mode in the coaxial weapon triggers remote fire. And so the only one that has a yes on that is the Firestorm. All the other weapons now will have that field in there saying, does it triggers remote target? No. Remote fire? And no. And the coaxial will say yes.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, so not a great deal. Not a great deal, but
They're just small things, aren't they?
small things. Yeah.
No, they could fix some important things like guard fleet disappearing or moving out of the base.
Well, you saw that. I sent in a video and a couple of pictures about that, and it was picked up and it's being looked at as well. And I've asked a couple of people on our page that have complained as well to send it in because they're asking for more videos and more tickets on that exact situation. They're not quite sure. It could be 4 or 5 different reasons why fleets that you've left overnight and haven't moved for months just all of a sudden move on one particular hit and for no other reason at all. So,
yeah, I've had some interesting experiences with that. So
they need to call a priest. They need to call a priest to their data center. There's some demon in there.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Although it was nice, they gave me 75 coin and a stack of medals. I wasn't worried about the medals, but I don't mind the coins. But I'd rather it was fixed, as I said.
The other thing that they could really fix, I mean, is the whole double battle thing, right? People are still having the same issue where they go hit a base. First time it doesn't engage, and you click it again, and you click it again. By that time, somebody clicked on your fleet to attack your fleet, and in the end, you have 2 battles going on.
Yeah, that is so.
That's still going on.
That's been going on for years, though.
That's
and the old SOS, the SOS as well. When some people put their guard in their base, and it just SOSs, and they have to keep reloading.
Does anyone get this? I get an SOS when I go to view friends' bases. Almost every friend I have. Well, not because I have a lot.
Maybe you don't have any.
Just because they're not really your friends.
All 2 of them, right? every time I go to view a friend's base, it just instantly SOSs.
I get that. Or there's a couple that I get it on, but not all.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a few. The SOS, obviously, the fleet, the guard fleet's an issue. If I pull a guard fleet out of my base and then go to put the guard fleet back in, it basically goes back in vanished, or says it's back in but isn't back in, and then when I try and put it in, I SOS. Is that the same issue everyone's getting with their guard fleet?
To be honest, I've never had a problem with my guard fleet, so I don't really know what.
Oh, there were 2 problems. Right. First one is that even if people had a set, a patrol range set, it wasn't moving. I think they fixed that one. And then the other one is now the fleets just magically disappear and appear outside of your bay in random places.
Yeah, I had one where this happened a couple of days ago. Actually, I was rearranging my guards and I was doing it in base planner, and then I'd come out of base planner and everything would be fine. And if I left my base or if I refreshed the game, when I came back in, one of my gammas would have moved from where I put it to right next to my dock in my base, and I just couldn't get it to stop happening. And I sent in a ticket, and this was ridiculous. Right, first I went on to live chat, and I got this guy on live chat, and he didn't really address my issue at all. He just said, "Oh well, I've given you 150 gold," and I was like, "Dude, I don't want the gold. I want the issue fixed." I said, "I can't go offline until this issue's fixed because my guards are going to move and my base is going to get flat." Do you know what I mean? Like, you know. And he goes, "Well, we can't troubleshoot." So I said, "Okay, sweet." So I went and I put in a regular ticket, and the same guy answered my ticket and said, "I just spoke to you. I gave you 150 gold. I hope this helps."
No, it doesn't then.
Do you know what I mean? And it was ridiculous, mate. I was like, well, if you're on the same, if you're answering tickets and you're on live chat, then why tell me that you can't troubleshoot on live chat? And why didn't you just address my issue in some way rather than just trying to throw gold at me? I mean, you know, I don't understand that, to be honest with you. It actually kind of got on my nerves quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Which is weird to say because I got pissed off about being given free gold. Do you know what I mean? But you know, it was in the end I had to mess with it and just move the guard slightly from the position I had it in. I just moved it over to the right a little bit, and it was fine. So, you know, the issue resolved itself kind of, but still, it was really poor the way they handled it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't had many customer service issues recently, but I must admit that I found it improved a lot from how it used to be. I used to find it a lot more frustrating than it is now, but I still rarely use it.
I don't use it at all, mate. I mean, my average ticket I put in, it takes about a week. It's like, really? So I just don't bother.
I open the tickets when I have a problem, and I specifically tell them, hey, this problem caused me that much repair, I want that much gold. And that's, just to fix my shit. Now, if it's a recurring issue, then giving gold's not enough. I mean, if it keeps happening, right, and you keep having damage, then just giving you gold once is not enough. They should fix the problem.
Yeah, and I'm very specific that I open it up with the right statement. So this is a collective issue or this is an individual issue. That's what I always say. And I must admit, I've never had to wait more than 48 hours for a response, and a suitable response as far as I'm concerned. I'm just fortunate, but I'm always polite. I'm always accurate. I always provide evidence.
No, me too. And
I always make sure that it's got a relevance as well. And I never rant. It's pointless because that poor person is just sitting in the line going, "I'll pass it to the right department." They're just customer relations. That's all they are. So there's no point ranting at them.
Well, guys, I think we're kind of at that time where we look to sort of wrap up the show, and I did want to say a few words before we do it. And I know this week's show is probably, I don't know, some may reflect it as being a little negative, and maybe in some ways it is. But I think sometimes we need to put opinions across, and they might not always be the most positive opinions out there, but at the end of the day, they're the truth. I think Kixeye. Most of us here on the panel, we all feel that you've done a great job with the game this year, and we're really happy in the direction the game's taken, especially in terms of the build times and how most of us find the game in a position where we're fairly well caught up. So we are happy with the game. We're just disappointed at these 2 holes that you've brought in this campaign. And perhaps you need to take a step back and look at these times. In terms of the impact they have on the players. And yeah, I can kind of see the point as to whether we would feel that these holes are vital, must-haves, need to build. I guess that's an argument that we can have till the sun comes in. But still, it's not been I don't think it's been a great release this campaign. But I'm sure they're not going to take a million steps backwards and keep throwing them at us. I mean, I'm sure.
Can I just make an aside on that? On a part, it's just saying the campaign release in itself is good. I think it's a good campaign. It's the top prizes that are disappointing, I think. Just to separate. This campaign, exactly. It's a good one. It's doable, right? Mm-hmm. But the prizes are what you're talking about.
I think overall, I think the community is disappointed with Kixeye's direction in terms of these prizes, and we just hope and pray, Kixeye, that you're not going to consider these like the way forward in terms of what you release, because they're kind of what we'd got in this game a year ago, which we don't want to see anymore. Is build times and limited holes and craziness. Okay, so please lay off it. But guys, I guess we're gonna look to stream the raid preview, the new hole preview on Friday, and of course we've got our open mic on Saturday. So until then, everyone have a great week in BP, and thank you all for coming out. Is there anything else anyone wanted to add in before we close the show?
No, we're good.
Okay, then we'll see you on Friday, guys. Have a great week, and anything you need to talk about, hit us up in the page. Good night.
Take care.
Night, everyone.